Welcome Rockstars, thank you for joining me. I'm here to give you a little bit of a heads up since we're running out with a limited amount of time for the Meltan research. As of this shooting, it's between November 20th and the 21st. This video will probably roll out on the 21st, so there's 6 days left. The reason why I'm posting this video now is to give you some tips and tricks to be able to actually do this Meltan research before it gets too late. Now, that being said, that does not necessarily mean that once you start it, you can't finish it within the time. It's just that if you've seen some other videos, it's going to be a lot harder. It'll be difficult to do some of the research parts based on the spawn rate of some of the Pokemon that you need to catch and evolve. Now I'll get that to you in a second. Okay, so what I'm going to do for you now is I'm going to break it down into each of the 9 steps. The research comprises of 9 steps total, and here will be where I place each step, and we'll go into each one and give you tips and tricks on performing each one specifically. Other YouTubers would just kind of say, oh, they just do it, show you the steps, and be done with it. But I'm going to try to help you, especially with the time that we have left, and even if you go over the time that we have left, what you can do to help or to try to get this done. Step 1. Okay, with step 1, this is when you start off the research, and this is an important one because you want to make sure you at least have to get this one started before the end of the event. If you don't, then you're going to miss out on Meltan. Now, of course, this is for those that do not play Pokemon Let's Go, don't want to play with the Switch. Even if you do, it's still important to get this because of the candies. Now, I will preface this as saying that once you get Meltan, it's going to take 400 candies to evolve it, and it will take 20 kilometers to get 1 candy for walking it. So it's going to take a long time to get up to 400. Now, that being said, this is going to start you off. Getting the Let's Go game and getting the trades and transfers and all that such will probably be the one that will help. I mean, you could either just spend a long time walking it, or you could play the game to get the evolved form. Anyways, step 1 now. Okay, spin 5 Pokestops or gyms, catch 10 Pokemon, and transfer 5 Pokemon. That's pretty easy. To really expedite this, what you can do, if you're still in the event, what I would suggest is to transfer non-essentials. For instance, like you will need certain ones for the later steps. And I'll tell you right now what you need before you get through all the steps. Okay, you will need to catch 5 steel types and 5 electric types. So don't worry about transferring those. You'll need to evolve a Grimer, so don't touch those. You need to catch 5 Slugma or Gulpins, evolve a Magnemite, catch 5 Executes, evolve a Drowsy, catch a Cubone, evolve a Skyther, catch 2 Omanite or Kabuto, catch 2 Leaps or Anorith, and catch an Aerodactyl. Now, for step 1, where it says catch 10 Pokemon, for those 10 Pokemon to try catching the Grimers, because you need to evolve a Grimer, or a Magnemite, or a Drowsy, or a Skyther. Those should be your 4 that you want to focus on. The reason why you want to do those 4 during the event is because the more you catch those, the more candies you will get, so it will help you out for the event. So it's those 4. Grimer, Magnemite, Drowsy, and Skyther, because you have to evolve those. And from the event so far, I've seen pretty much all of them have been available in the wild except for Scyther. So if you can catch Scythers, catch them. Or there's the research task for evolve 2 Anoriths. Now, right now, you want to be careful with the Anoriths because you will need to catch 2 more towards the very end, but you can at least catch it initially for the Scyther. If you want to get enough candies for the Scythers, if you don't have any, you'll need to catch a total of 9 Scyther, because you'll have 9 times 6 if you use Pineapple Berries for 54 candies, and that'll be enough to evolve it. So if you can get 9 Scythers, more importantly, if you can do 9 of those evolve 2 Anoriths, which means you'll need 18 Anoriths for that. Hopefully you'll have a Scyther that has some candies in it, but if not, that's what you'll need to do. Okay, so focus on those 4 for the catch 10. You can catch whatever 10 you want, but if you want to expedite this is the tip to do this. Transfer 5 Pokemon, It could be any Pokemon you want. It doesn't matter, especially with this, because everything is catch or evolve. And spin 5 Pokestops. It has to be 5 different Pokestops? No. Can be 5 of the same Pokestop? Yes. So you can sit there and wait for 5 minutes, for a total of 25 minutes, spin, 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 spin. And if you do it at a gym, let's say in a particular day you find a gym that has a Evolve 2 Animus. Spin it, get that research, do that research, spin again, and focus on that. Step 2. Earn 2 candies walking with your buddy. Now, what I would suggest with this is two things. If you have a buddy in your Pokedex right now, watch to see if he's close to earning a candy, but don't go over it if you can. If it's like at the very edge, wait for this one to then release it. If you don't, what you could do, there's a couple things you could do. Because Drowsies are in the wild, Grimers are in the wild, and Magnemites are in the wilds, but Scythers are not. If you have a Scyther, you can put him in as your buddy, but it's 5 kilometers per candy for this one. So that might be a bit of, if you don't mind the 5K walk, then go for it. Then you'll rack up the candies for step 7. If you need something that's super quick, put Magikarp. It's 1 kilometer per candy. So if you put a Magikarp in there, 2 kilometers, you're done. Make 10 great throws. It doesn't have to be in a row, so it could be any 10 great throws. Now, tips for that: nose passes. Actually, Drowsies are good because the circles are pretty big, and Scythers are good. So it's a double bonus if you can get a Scyther. The circle for the great throw is bigger. Drowsies are bigger. Not the Cubones, not the Magnemites, but because the Magnemites are very small. And Grimers are actually pretty decent. Ponytails are great. The raids are great. Now, you don't want to do too many raids yet because of step 3. So, but step 2, earn 2 candies walking, make 10 great throws, and hatch 3 eggs. And that's a tricky one. You could try to set up 3 eggs from step 1 and start walking so you're close to step 2, but if you're not careful, you can hatch them. But again, I would suggest for those hatch 3 eggs, if you have 3 2Ks, put those 3 2Ks in, you should be able to hatch them pretty quickly. Or if you have a super incubator, even better. Now, you will get 1 incubator on step 1, but it's a regular one. So just think ahead of time for that. Okay. Step 3. Catch a Ditto. That's going to be the tough one. I would strongly suggest not, especially if you're on a time crunch, don't try to catch one in the wild because it will take a while. Again, at this point you probably know what's out there available for Pidgeys, for Dittos like Pidgeys, Caterpies, Seedots, etc. But there's an easier way. There's another research task where you have to throw an excellent ball, and what that is, it'll be titled "Let's Go: Make 1 excellent throw." Okay, yes, it'll say "Let's go make an excellent throw." Again, as I mentioned before, got some good options like Grimer. Not the Cubones are too small. Grimer, Scyther, Drowsy, or the legendaries, but you really don't want to do that with the legends, especially with the new legendary, because you want to catch them and you don't want to overstress yourself. But you can. The circles are pretty big, and you could practice those. You just have to make 1 excellent throw. Once you make that excellent throw, it will clear that research, and it will spawn a Pidgey. And you catch that Pidgey, just like any other spawn for research, and then it'll turn into a Ditto. Much easier. But remember, it's let's go make an excellent throw. You're gonna have to do a little research to find that particular task. If you're on a Discord, ask around a Discord. People do it, but that's one that you're gonna have to search. Battle in 2 raids. That shouldn't be too hard, especially with the new legendary that just popped up. So there should be raids. Now, you only have to play the raid. You don't have to go for the raids. You don't actually have to win it. Now, be cautious with this. When you go to a raid, get the free raid pass afterwards. If you could do it in 2 days, do it in 2 days. The reason why is you want to have at least 10 raid passes for what's coming up later. So hopefully you have enough coins, and this could be the difficult part. But hopefully you'll have 10 raid passes, and that's one thing you want to make sure you get is 10 raid passes. Now, while you're doing the steps, if you're going to do these steps in the different days, remember you can only get 1 raid pass for that day. So it's not like you can accumulate more and more raid passes, unfortunately. So win 2 gym battles and battle in 2 raids. Now you can actually do both pretty close to each other. If you see an egg that's about ready to hatch, let's say there's 5 minutes left for an egg to hatch, and it's an opposite team. You can go in, you battle it twice, and then do the raid. So you could get 3 things knocked out right away. Then if you see another raid, go there, and it can be done. So there's techniques to this. Step 4, and that's the step that I'm on, more specifically because I've been kind of slow on this because I've been doing other things. Earn 5 candies walking with your bunny. Again, Magikarp, or whatever's a 1K. Your favorite 1K'er should be able to do that pretty quickly. Catch 5 steel types and catch electric types. Now, the strategy is it's not mutually exclusive. If you catch a Magnemite, that works for both. So all you have to do is catch 5 Magnemites, and they're all 5 steel and they're all electric. So you just catch 5 of those, and you're good. There's a lot of Pikachu spawning, so you could do those. I haven't seen that many Electrobuzzes or Electrokids or any of that family, or other steel types. So focus on the Magnemites, and you want to do the Magnemites because for step 6. So we'll focus on that. Step 5, evolve a Grimer. Hopefully you have a Grimer from previously. A Lohan Grimer works. If you've been catching and saving the candies for those things, good. If you're starting out at 0, remember what I mentioned before, the 4 that you want to catch for this, they are spawning pretty regularly. While you're doing this, if you're not worried about the 2K eggs, you can always put in the Lohan and possibly get a Grimer. But try to catching the Grimers as much as you can. Remember, pineapple berries for that Grimers for this particular thing. Catch 5 Slugma or Gulpin. Now, Slugma is spawning pretty decently for this event. Now, if you're outside of the event window, Gulpin is the way to go because those tend to spawn the most. You're gonna want to try to get through this as fast as you can because of the later steps. You may sit back like, oh, Gulpins are easy. Yes, they're easy even after the event, but what's coming up later is not so easy. So yes or no, it can be something that you can sit back. Now, if you're not worried about time and you want to take all the time in the world, then have at it. I'm just saying, if you're trying to maximize the time now, don't worry about the Gulpins. Get the Slugmas. Make 20 great throws. Again, it doesn't have to be in a row. So 20 great throws. Already mentioned the great ones for the great tries for that. I would say preferably if you're going, if you see Pokemon out in the wild, go for ones that have red circles and orange circles, and use actually the smallest ball of the just a regular Pokeball. Reason being is you want to make a great, let it run, make a great, let it run, and do it that way versus just catching. Because if you catch, it takes the whole catch sequence takes time. So just great, let it run. Even if it runs away, fine. Great time to practice this, but I wouldn't really do it because of the status of legendaries. Great circles. Now, if you have an EX raid, do that because those will count. Only if you have like several Deoxys, you don't really care about getting another Deoxys. If it's your first one, don't chance it. If you can get an excellent curve, etc., then all means. Now remember, it doesn't say great curveball; it's just a great throw. So if you do the straight throw and you're really good at those, focus on those. Nose pass is great. Ponyta is great, but I haven't seen those spawn in a while. Step 6. Evolve a Magnemite. At this point, hopefully you've caught enough Magnemites so you can evolve it. Remember, it doesn't have to be a high IV or CP. You just want to evolve one just to get it done. If you haven't been catching Magnemites, hopefully you have one ready, pending. If you're doing this after the event, Well, all I can say is if you can find one, grab it and make it your buddy, and just, if you have some rare candy, throw out some rare candy, walk with it, and then hope for the best. Now, catch 5 executes. If you're within the event, good place is shopping mall parking lots, Targets, Best Buys, Walmarts, because you will see a lot of spawns of everything. So if you hit those spots, you should be able to get the 5 executes. If you're after the event, don't worry, unless you're in a biome where they don't spawn too frequently. I've seen periodical spawns here and there, so it may take you a little longer, but you should be able to get it. You may have to drive out a little ways to get. Maybe you can find a nest. They do and can nest in certain areas. Here's a long one, and the one that's going to be difficult for some people. Battle in 10 raids. Now, here's the key. It doesn't specifically say what raids. EX raids can count. So if you have an EX raid pass, use it. The reason why I say that is because if you have very limited resources, an EX raid is free. If you have any raid passes whatsoever, use them. Now remember, you don't have to succeed in a raid. Legendary raids would be good. So, if you want to save, if you want to really utilize those passes, do several legendary raids. Now remember, you can get a raid pass when you do a raid. So if we still have some days left, so you can do a raid and get a raid pass, and the next day do a raid and raid pass, and the next day do a raid and raid pass. That's 3 raids with 6 raid passes, so you could actually do 6 raids during those 3 days. And you have an EX raid, that's 2 more. That's 1 more, and you possibly can get another raid pass with that. But that can be considered this. So you can potentially do 7, then do 2 more. If you do 2 to 3 raids in a day, you can do this. We can still do this. Now, reason why you want to do this sooner than later, and this is going to be the hard part, is what's coming up next. So again, step 6, evolve Magnemite, should be easy. Catch 5 executes, should be easy-ish. Battle 10 raids, that's going to be the hard pressed one. Now if you're worried about burning all your raid passes, it's a concern, and I don't know why they didn't do this on step 5, because maybe they didn't realize this, because the reward of step 6 is a silver pineapple berry. Don't worry about burning all your raid passes, but you want to use at least your EX raid if you have one coming up, preferably one today. There is an EX raid today. Use it if you can. If you worry about burning all your raids, don't worry, because in step 7, the reward for step 7 is you get 3 raid passes. So at least you'll get those. On to step 7. Evolve 1 Drowsy. Hopefully you have candies pending for that, but you should be focused on catching them in the earlier steps, so you should have them ready. Catch 1 Cubone. Cubones are spawning everywhere, but I'm telling you, after the event, they don't spawn that often. They do, but it's not as common as this event. And evolve 1 Scyther. Now, I know personally I don't have enough candy for the Scyther, so I'm going to be hard pressed for this. So for me, what I'm going to do is once I get the earn 5 candies walking with your buddy for a Magikarp, I'm immediately switching to Scyther and see if I can get a few more candies that way. Hopefully with the Battle 10 raids, I'll get enough rare candies so I can throw it into Scyther. I have a decent amount, but hopefully I'm going to get enough rare candies to get and to throw it in. I should be able to. I'm piecing this out now, or parting it, because everything else I got. Step 8, and this is the big one. Get ready for this. You have to catch either 2 Omanites or 2 Kabutos, or 1 of each. Now I have seen Omanites spawn. I haven't seen as many Kabutos spawn, but if you're in a spot where they are rare outside the event, you're going to be hard pressed for this. Remember, you have to catch them. You can't trade it. So that's why you should really try to blow through these as fast as you can, if you can. The next one, catch 2 Lilips or Anoriths. Now Anoriths I've seen spawn a lot. After the events, you may be able to catch more Lilips than Anoriths, because before the event and after the event, I haven't seen that many Animals at all. Fortunately, I had some, but you don't have to evolve, you just have to catch 2. Lileeps, I haven't seen any Lileeps, at least in our biomes at all, so it's going to be hard pressed. But Animals, yeah. Now here's the tricky one. It's going to be tricky for a lot of people. Catch an Aerodactyl. Now, at least in my biome, in my area, I rarely if ever see any Aerodactyls at all. I maybe have like 3 from when I played. But there's hope. There's another research task called Let's Go Hatch 2 Eggs. Now, the reason why you gotta be careful of this is if you hatched 3 eggs from step 2, remember, the step 2 part, hatch 3 eggs, is the mythical side of things, but you could also have the regular research task of hatch 2 eggs, let's go hatch 2 eggs. And you can do that, and that's what I did, but remember, once you solve that research, it gets put in the claim the reward section, and which is all fine and well, but you have to remember which one it is. Because I wound up doing 2 of them, and I have 2 different things I have to catch, so but I have 2 queued up, but I'm not sure which one it is. But if you can find this research task, save it. Remember, the research tasks change every 24 hours, but if you find one, it will carry over. So just hold on to it if you can, but if you don't, that's fine. Just remember where it is in the queue spot. Now, if you've done it and it's queued up, hold on to it. Because once you get to step 8, if that's the last thing you have to do, just click on it, catch it, and you're good. And after that, you take a long, deep breath, you collect your 8,000 Stardust, and you want a Star Piece, and then you can catch your Meltan. Then step 9 is just everything is completed. You get 9,000 Stardust, 1 Super Incubator, and 5 Meltan candies. So you'll have 395 left to go. But that's it for the steps. I'll link each one here in each step, just so you have a visual. Good luck. There's still some days left. The one you want to get to as quickly as possible is step 6 for the battle in 10 raids. Remember, you don't have to win it, but it's going to be hard. You want to do that as soon as possible, because if you have very limited raid passes, you want to be able to get 1 raid pass and then get the new raid pass and do it. You can still do it. You could technically do it like 2 with just 1 raid pass, and the one that you get, you can do it in 5 days. So this, if you have 0 raid pass, you can still do this. It's going to just take a little time, but you don't want to have to. You want to do this sooner than later, because step 7 and 8, which are the hard ones, the evolves are not hard, except for Scyther, at least for me. But it's the Aerodactyls, Kabutos, and Omanites that you may get pinched on if you're not careful. So there you go. Hopefully this was helpful. I'm going to put the pictures in the video. Leave a comment. I know some of you have already gotten it. Some have probably already evolved it, knowing how people are. Now, what does this mean to you about Let's Go? Well, you know about the research box and being able to spawn 10 Meltans with pineapples in each Meltan. That's 60 candies. 10 Meltans, 60 candies per box. So if you do that 6 times, you get 360 candy. If you do that 7 times, you'll have more than 400. That's what you want to aim for. So if you do this, it's still going to take you a while, but isn't it kind of worthwhile? And if you walk during all this time, you'll probably get a few candy here and there. So it's something to look forward to. There you go. There you have it. Hopefully this was helpful. Leave a comment. If you're new to this, please subscribe. Click on the notifications and say hi in the messages, and sponsor me on Patreon. I have all sorts of good little, I have Cashapp, I have all these different Discords and Twitter and Twitch and all these kind of social medias. So thank you for stopping by. Hopefully this was good and helpful. Take care and peace.